The British pound's latest fall has shown just how vulnerable it is to political factors. The Sunday Times newspaper reported that 40 members of Parliament from Prime Minister Theresa May's Conservative Party have agreed to sign a letter of no confidence over her handling of Brexit. That's just 8 short of the number needed to start a leadership contest. Now, the pound fell nearly 1% against the US dollar and the euro. It was the biggest drop in 11 days. Investors are worried that more political turmoil may result in the UK being forced to leave the European Union in 2019 without a trade deal. Let's go to London now and speak to Kallum Pickering. He's the senior UK economist at investment bank Berenberg. Great to have you, as always, on Money Talks, Kallum. So how do you see this? Is this a buying opportunity for sterling, do you think, or do you see it weakening some more below 130?
It may weaken a little in the near term, but I think relative to economic fundamentals, sterling is undervalued. I'm absolutely certain that Brexit will reduce the UK's long-term growth potential, so sterling deserves to be down a little bit, but I probably think markets have gone too far. Markets are currently pricing in the risk of a hard Brexit, so that is no trade deal with the EU. I don't think that's the most likely scenario. So long as the UK and the EU do strike a trade deal, sterling probably moves up from here along with the political progress.
So if I'm reading you right, Kallum, you are treating some of these headlines that we're seeing as kind of political noise, which I suppose from an investor's point of view, you kind of have to separate out of the picture and focus on the fundamentals as you see it of the British economy.
Exactly, I would just treat them as noise for now. Theresa May's position is stronger than people expect. She's actually liked by most of the party, and she works as a good compromise between the moderates within the Conservative Party and the Brexiteers. Keep in mind also what the EU has said recently, that it's setting a team on this idea of a transitional deal. So that's de facto keeping the UK inside the EU for a further 2 years after March 2019 in order to discuss trade. I don't really think that the EU, with its very small economic interests in the UK, would have said it was even thinking of moving on to the next phase of talks unless it was remotely satisfied with the UK's progress so far.
If we assume that the pound is going to be under some pressure, what are investors likely to switch into?
Well, the Eurozone looks pretty good. Let's just go back a step. I see probably a 30% chance of a hard Brexit. So 70% chance that the UK in the EU do sort it out. But I like the Eurozone. After 10 long years of pretty sluggish growth and 2 consecutive crises, the Eurozone is now benefiting from the hard policy work that it has done over the last few years. Austerity is over in major parts of the Eurozone. Supply side policy adds to growth. And I'm thinking about Mr. Macron here in France. Also, from a monetary policy point of view, there's very little inflationary pressure, which means the ECB can essentially go very, very slowly with its exit. So for the next 2 years, the Eurozone looks pretty good to me.
Let's go back to the Brexit negotiations for a sec. Now, the EU has given the UK less than 2 weeks now to promise more cash for the Brexit deal. Without that, they say no trade talks, no going into phase 2. What are the signs that Theresa May's government is going to cough up more cash?
Well, Theresa May suggested just a couple of weeks ago that she's ready to cough up more cash. David Davis, the Brexit minister, outright said it's likely that during the Brexit talks, the European Union gets the better end of the deal and the UK is set to benefit during the trade talks. What we're waiting for here is the politics to reach a critical mass so that the UK passes the kidney stone and pays the Brexit bill, which will unlock the next round of talks. It's likely that that will come in December, and if not in December, shortly thereafter.
Right. Kallum Pickering, senior UK economist at Berenberg in London. Thank you.